Have you ever wondered how a tiny island nation could become a global economic powerhouse in the Middle Ages? Today, we read diving into the incredible story of the Maldives and a forgotten king who turned simple seashells into a currency that fueled an empire. This is the tale of Sultan Arida Suvara Maha Radun and the dawn of the Great Cowrie boom. In the 13th century, long before the Maldives became a famous tourist destination, it was a quiet Buddhist kingdom. But everything changed under the rule of Sultan Arida Suvara Maha Radun, a king from the ancient Solar dynasty. His reign, from roughly the 1260s to the 1290s, marks one of the most transformative moments in Maldivian history. The islands, known to the distant Mongol Empire in China as Pililiusha, were about to step onto the world stage in a very big way. So who was this sultan? His title, Maha Radun, or Great Lord, tells us he was from the highest royal tier. Ruling from his capital in Malé, he presided over a society whose economy was on the brink of a revolution. For centuries, Maldivians had harvested cowrie shells, but under Arida Suvara, this humble practice was about to be supercharged to meet an unprecedented demand from halfway across the world. The first concrete proof of this connection comes from an amazing archaeological find. In 1974, a shipwreck was discovered just off the coast of Chuanzhou, China. Dating back to the 1270s, right in the middle of Arida Suvara's reign, this Chinese junk was a floating treasure trove. On board, archaeologists found up to 1 million Maldivian cowrie shells packed in jars. Even more incredibly, they found a broken wooden cargo tag with the characters for Lusha, the last part of the name Pililiusha. This wasn't just a lucky find, it was a smoking gun. It proved that while Sultan Arida Suvara sat on his coral stone throne, massive Chinese ships were regularly sailing to the Maldives. They would anchor, trade beautiful goods like silk and Celadon porcelain, and load up with tons of cowries before making the long journey back. The Chuanzhou ship sank on its return, a tragedy for its crew, but a priceless piece of evidence for historians. But how did a small atoll nation supply so many shells? This wasn't a random collection. It was a highly organized, state-run operation masterminded by the Sultan himself. According to oral histories and later records, Arida Suvara issued royal edicts. Every year, during the low-tide months, every inhabited island had to deliver a set quota of cleaned and dried cowries. Imagine entire communities, women and children, forming human chains in the shallow lagoons, raking the seabed with coconut leaf baskets. It was an industrial-scale effort, all coordinated from the capital. These millions of shells were stockpiled in royal storehouses, ready for the foreign traders. In return, the Sultan received luxury goods, exquisite Chinese celadon, fine Indian textiles, and valuable iron cauldrons. These weren't just for the king's personal collection, spreading the wealth and prestige of the trade throughout his kingdom. In fact, when archaeologists today find 13th-century Longquan celadon dishes with a distinctive twin-fish design in Maldivian historical sites, they are looking at the direct fingerprint of Arida Suvara's economic policy. Just a few years after the Chuanzhou ship sank, the name Pililiusha officially entered the Chinese historical record. In 1281, a storm-blown ship returned to China from the Maldives, carrying tons of cowries for the great Mongol emperor Kublai Khan. It's almost certain that those very shells were harvested under the orders of Sultan Arida Suvara. While Arida Suvara didn't live to see the absolute peak of the cowrie trade in the early 14th century, he was the architect of its success. He transformed a scattered island society into a centralized export economy capable of supplying currency to the largest empire on earth. The economic foundations he laid sustained the Maldivian Sultanate for the next 400 years, even after the country converted to Islam. So, the next time you see a tiny white cowrie shell, remember this incredible story. Think of the link between a king on a coral throne in the Indian Ocean and a Mongol emperor on the steppes of Asia. Together, across thousands of kilometers of ocean, they turned the Maldives, the islands of Pililiusha, into one of the most unlikely economic giants of the medieval world. Thanks for watching. If you found this piece of hidden history fascinating, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories from the crossroads of time. See you in the next video.